Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. How are you, everybody? It is Monday. We have a new guest who we are showcasing. Our guest today is Michael Fabber. Hi, Michael. How are you? Welcome to Munira's Musings.
I'm amazing. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Michael and I have met over 3 or 4 years ago, and he has taught me a few things. I thought it's about time he showed up on my show, right? And we do this show because we know that there are many people standing on the sidelines who are waiting to jump, maybe, I don't know, but they're not taking action. And execution is one thing that we need to learn how to do. And Michael here is going to teach us how to execute. He is the owner of UnleashU, and he is the founder of UnleashU. So we want to know what that is. He's got the logos all over his shirt, so we know that's something we need to talk about. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about Michael. Michael, how are you? Tell us where you're calling from and what is it that you do?
What's up? Michael Fabber here, UnleashU Now. I'm from the great place of Ware, Delaware. Most people don't know where it is or what state it's in. It's its own state, just so you know. But I moved to Delaware about almost 2 decades ago now, and it's been home ever since, and headquarters for UnleashU Now for the last 11 years.
So where did you move from?
I moved all over a little bit when I was younger. I lived in New York City, Pennsylvania, and then I also lived in Virginia at one point.
So mostly the East Coast.
Oh, yeah, always East Coast. I'm an East Coast guy.
Okay, there you go. So tell us something about Maine that Delaware that we all don't know about. I mean, it was part of the war.
Right. It has the largest Air Force base in the country, Dover Air Force Base. It has no sales tax, and most businesses, especially big credit card companies, are based out of Delaware. And you could see that in the movie Fight Club.
Ah, see, something that you know. Learn and
boom.
All right, there you go. So, okay, so tell us a little bit more about yourself. What is it that you do?
We have now we have just over half a dozen businesses. Me particular now these days, I work with a lot of people that are empowering entrepreneurs, movement makers, and game changers on building the foundation to be successful in their cause and monetize it.
So I love that, right? You said be successful. Why is it that businesses fail then?
Businesses fail so much, mostly because businesses build around a product-based businesses. And with anything like technology, it advances so much so quickly that if you're built around a product, if that product is not sustainable, and also you can't keep your margins big enough, you will lose. It's just when. The businesses that have made it the longest and the highest are all movement-based businesses, or we could say mission-based or purpose-based.
Why is that important?
Why? Because if I come to your business, I'll use a dramatic example. I'll use Apple, right? If I come to you for the movement, for the cause, for the mission, wherever you go, I'm down for the mission still, right? Like Apple, why does no one cover the product logo? Why? Is because they want people to know they're a part of that club, the misfits, the outsiders, right? The round peg, square hole, right? They want them to know the ones that are crazy enough to change the world, the ones that will, right? Like they want them to know they're in that group, right? Why? It's because it's mission, it's future-based, it's something we're going towards and something we belong to. When we can do that, I don't care what your product is, you can switch products because they're not just there because of this product and how it was made. If they're just there for a product and how it was made, you change how it was made or it becomes less effective because something else becomes more effective, then you're in a commodity war, and then you're for the lowest price or highest price. And nothing to know. That's Dan Kennedy, by the way, said that last mark. It wasn't Michael Fabber.
Who said that?
Dan Kennedy.
Okay, so
Brilliant marketer.
right. So I've heard of his name that's come up in the past few days. I need to start following him too. But let me ask you this, right? You said something that really hit home because Kodak was a company that didn't innovate,
100%.
right? And it's now obsolete.
Right.
So, but companies that have to keep changing. Now, here I am, a small business person. You gave a big, giant example, but let's talk about the common small
All right.
businesspreneur. Everybody starts a business thinking, oh, I have an idea, let's just start this. And I, as a niche navigator, we know that we teach people how to, um, you know, figure out one, their niche, one, the product that they're going to sell, and then the people they're going to sell to. Is that
Mm-hmm.
still relevant?
Yes. Mostly yes. I'll say yes. The idea is like who, when you say who we're going to sell to me, I sit back and I go, are we understanding the who to the degree in which we need to? Not the demographics. I'm not so worried about that. If you help someone that's 33 or 48, I'm not gonna be like, no, you can't help the 48-year-old, right? You only can help the 33. I think that's silly. If you solve the problem, you solve the problem. What we need to do at a much deeper level is build that connection with our who by understanding the demographics, now psychographics, right? What is the fears, pains, problems? What is their stressors, right? What keeps them up at night? What wakes them up in the morning? When we can understand these things that are not just demographics, but psychographics about our person, we can speak to them in a better way because we understand them better. And then the other part of that is self-discovery. What is their identity? What are the people you identify, like they identify as, right? Like I say, empowering entrepreneurs, right? That's what we serve. Why? It's because they empower people through their business that they own, probably because they came into this world with a lot of passion and not necessarily the business foundation behind it. What is their state they're in? Because that's where the transformation happens. The state they're in and the state you're going to take them to by working with you, right? And then why? Why does that matter to them? And when we take those three parts and put them together in perfect harmony, that's something serious. You can make a real big impact in a faster way.
So, how many entrepreneurs out there sit there and sit down and think, hey, I'm going to put all these things there. You have the why, you have the psychographics, and then the empowering situation. When they sit down, I, as a niche navigator, haven't seen people who don't even sit down and create a plan to let's connect the dots and this is how we're going to show up. Why is that, and how can we help the entrepreneur world define and refine it?
Right? No, many don't. And why is because the space is so murky with people trying to sell different tactics, right? I think it was Myron Golden said tactics are the least educated of teachings, right? It's like when someone says, I'll teach you Facebook marketing. What they mean is they're going to teach you a tactic on Facebook that's working at the moment. Here's the problem. We all know the algorithm changes consistently, right? So if I'm learning something that's working right now, by the time I understand it, it's not going to work, right? So it's a waste of money. And if doesn't matter if we can market to people or get to people, if we don't understand who we're trying to get to, what we do for them, right? And an offer in which they find that they can't pass up, right? We like to call it no way to say no offer. If you don't already have that, putting that out there means nothing. So people are buying into things, the fancy website, right? The email list, the Facebook marketing, the SEO, right? Like the ads, right? Like let's go down the list. YouTube, shows, special occasion, right? Drop this, boost your post. One tip for everybody, don't boost the post, right? But we're learning and teaching all these things that aren't going to truly help or implement a business, right? God bless you, right? And when we do that, God bless you, no worries. And when we do that, we're setting them up. Now, a business is losing money. When you got into business, how much money did you have set aside to start a business? Typically, it's not a whole ton, right? So we get in the space and we're very passionate and we don't have a lot of fun. So we got to make it quickly. But then we spend these funds on things that aren't going to help us make it quickly, right? So automatically we're out the money and we're not having progress. So I think we need to get very real in this space as business owners saying, listen, there are things you need in place before you go and do these other things. These things are cool down here, but they're farther down the road. You're going to have obstacles before that. And why I think that happens all the time is because people get into it very passionate. They understand who they want to help or how they want to help, right? But they don't understand how the foundation of business and the principles of business works before they get into all the different strategies and tactics there are out there. And that's what destroys businesses and makes businesses waste a lot of money.
Wow, that's powerful, right?
That's a lot of words.
Right, and but we know, right? We've seen that in historic. I mean, we're not talking historic like 60 years ago. We are seeing it in history, but at least 5 years back, where we see all these tactics that don't work, and then you have the companies out there who are going to say you need a fantastic website, and then what we call what you said was SEOs and boosting the posts and everything, and why spend money on something that's not going to work? So let's talk about Unleash You right now. For those of you who are watching, we are with Michael Fabber from Delaware, and he's the owner and founder of Unleash You, and I met him about, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago when we were doing a speaking thing, and I did learn a lot of things from him. So I said, you need to be on my show, and here it is. It's taken a little while, but we are here, right?
It was perfect timing.
Right, perfect timing. So Michael, tell us a little bit about what Unleash You is, and why did you come up with that name?
Oh, that's a good question. So in 2017, originally in 2011 when we started, it was CMF, Coach Mike Fabber. It was named after me, right? What I did was, when I came into the space, I saw what other people before me, giants and pillars of the game, were doing in the space. And I was just like, oh, all right, we have Tony Robbins, you have the John Maxwell team, you have Eric Thomas, right? Like, and you just go through the list, and it's all named after them, right? And then so I was like, that's what you have to do. So I'm gonna name it after me. And then I realized, like, it's not about me, and it can't be, because it has to be about something bigger. If I'm truly care about the cause and the mission, it has to be about the cause and the mission. So it has to be something that everyone can get under, right? And I didn't want everyone under a banner that said my name. I felt like that was really egoist, right? So I'm like, oh, let's think of a name. And I was actually sitting in a room with 3 other guys, and we were at a place called Technogruber, this place right here, actually on my sleeve, and paid them homage and respect. And we were sitting there talking about, like, what do we think the company does? Like, what's the environment, the culture? What are we trying to do to the world, right? To the United States and the world and beyond. And one that we kept talking about, how we want to end self-injurious behavior and suicide. That's what we want to end. All right. And we know to do that, we have to reach 1 billion people. All right. And if we can reach 1 billion people, the ripple effect from 1 billion would actually be 10 billion. It would be more than the people on Earth. Right. So then we know we impacted the whole world. Right. True. If we can raise the vibration of the world, then we don't have to worry about self-injurious behavior and suicide. All right. So how are we going to do that? That's a good question. When I first started, I started coaching one-on-ones. All right. And I realized I would have to live to over 1 million years old. And I don't think I'm going to do that. Heck, I don't think a Fabber man has lived over 61. So I'm trying just to beat that. I don't even see 1 million. All right. So I'm like, all right. Then we started doing groups and speaking to rooms. And I realized that I had to live to 1,500 at that point. And I was like, all right, we're getting closer. All right. And it was, what better way? If we truly believe everyone has a gift, which I do, and I truly believe everyone's here to contribute to the masterpiece of life on Earth. I truly believe it. All right. Like, it's not, I don't think it's a question. I stand on it like I stand on the ground. All right. And we're truly here to contribute, right? To paint our masterpiece that'll be included into the puzzle piece of this world. All right. So we all have greatness within us. I believe it. Now, what happens is we let society, family traditions, right, culture, right, media, right, society hold us back, or make us, in our mind, say we can't do this because it won't be accepted, appreciated, or embraced. All right. I will lose all the ones that care and love me, or the ones that I care and love. So we leash ourselves to these things, right? And we just have so many leashes on us. That was my leash sound, just so you know. And right, so it was unleash that, right? Let's cut all those chains off, right? And the best time to do that is now. right? And that's where Unleash You Now came to be, is because I believe we all have something to contribute. It's that poem that goes, the life is a song, and we all want to contribute a verse. All right.
That's
And it's,
beautiful.
yeah, let's help people contribute the verse and serve people. And then if every one of us, if we're helping other people that serve people, that's how we get to 1 billion.
And so the ripple effect. God, that's hard to say. Ripple effect. Okay, sorry.
Got me on that one.
Sorry. All right. So,
Yep.
but why is this important to you? You talked about the why before, right? And so let's get to your why. Why do you think that, one, you're not going to live past 61? You could beat the odds. We all
I'm
could.
going to.
That's number one. Number two, why is this cause important to you?
Um, why is because I was the person that had the gun in my hand that was gonna end it all. Right. I was the one that didn't know if I wanted to live, right, or if I was worth life. That's a scary place. And my brother's one of the 22 here a day that served the country that took his own life. And then one of my best friends took his life in 2011. I lived with a lot of guilt and hurt. And as a man, where I grew up, it wasn't, you weren't hurt, you were mad. And that caused a lot of trouble in my life. And that's why my younger life was a lot of troubled years, was because I thought I had to be mad because I was so hurt, until I learned there were two different things and I had to deal with one. Right. And if I dealt with the one, it took care of the other one a lot. Right. But it's because I know what it feels like to feel like you don't belong, you don't have someone, right? Like you don't have a team, you don't have a community. That's like when everybody comes to Unleash You Now, a lot of them come because they hear about the coaching we do, or the retreats or the trainings we do. And I always tell them the best part of us is the community. It's all the people. It's the people that jumped in this room this morning and put blue and green hearts, said hello, said unleashed, right? Like it's those people. That's what makes Unleash You Now special. Like when you say, what's the difference? Yes, other ones have coaches, even though I'll go toe to toe with anyone in the coaching space in what I do. But I haven't found a community like ours. So supportive, so caring, so loving, but also holds everybody accountable. It's a way for true progress. Also, if you never feel isolated, all right, that's one of the 3 things you need to self-induced behavior: isolation, feel like you're by yourself. If you never feel like you're by yourself and never feel like a burden, we won't have to worry about the third, and that's the ability to harm yourself.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That just blew my mind. But that's so amazing, right? That once you have that realization, you started creating. So when you started creating this community of Unleash You started out with one. And I heard one of I don't know who it was, but one marketer said that once you start talking to somebody and then they take action and they listen to you and they take action, you've now doubled your audience, right? And how you said 2017 and you've started growing. How many people do you have in your group?
Oh, which layer? I mean, now we're thousands deep of impact, of direct contact. We have a dozen in our team, in our mastermind, our international mastermind. We have over 50. So we go through layers. Like we have an ascension process. So depending on where you're talking about, we have an event coming up in Nashville. It'll be over 100, if not hundreds, right there. So, I mean, when you say that number, thousands have been directly contacted through us. And then imagine the ripple effect from that. Now we're having multiple people have their own events and their own retreats. They're impacting, 20, 30 people at one time. So the number is just now growing exponentially. Already this year, we've had multiple people in our community have events, and we're only in March. It's beautiful to see and to think. At one point in 2011, this actually started. It just wasn't named Unleash You Now. And I walked into one of my best friend's house, Alex McClure, still part of this thing. And I said, we're going to change the world. And he asked me, was I high? All right. So that's how crazy it sounded at the beginning. And the first person I ever tried to really, really help was a guy sitting at a counter at a diner. And I walked up to him and I said, what's your biggest problem? And he looked at me and said, "You." So I was like, all right, I'll walk away. Right. So the first problem I solved for a guy was me getting away from him. So to think where we were at that point to where we are now, and that's why I tell everybody, don't quit. Like, I'm nothing special. Like, really work, get your foundation right, and then everything else becomes easier.
So you start with a vision, right?
100%. And it's like blurry and it's crazy because listen, if you ask me at the beginning of this, is this what I pictured? I would tell you no. Right? I couldn't see this far. Right? I just envisioned something that we could serve and help people. I really, at first, it was more motivation, inspiration than actual like training and technique and principles and strategies and tactics. Right? Like it was not what we see now. But as you go down your journey, as you start going towards your vision becomes clearer. It becomes more detailed and you can see more. So what you couldn't notice farther back, when you get closer, you can notice. So that's take a step. And after every step, it becomes clearer.
Great. But start somewhere. At least start somewhere.
Yeah, we all have a starting line.
Right. So let's talk about the books you're reading right now. What book are you reading?
So I'm like a repeat reader. Like, I'll read a book too many times in a row. Right. So I bounce back to Simon Sinek because I think he's brilliant. Right. And the Infinite Game and Leaders Eat Last are two of my favorites from him. Right. A book I'm always reading is The Ultimate Sales Machine. I'm always reading it. To me, like you know how John Maxwell made like their leadership Bible?
Yes.
Right. Like to me, I have the business Bible, and it's like a bunch of books that I just think you need in business at some point to be able to put together a really strong foundation or understand it without spending more and more money to understand it. I would say if you can afford it, I would say get to an event because there's something about the immersive behavior that just changes lives, right, in businesses. If you can't do that, get a book, right? Because even just reading 10 pages a day is helpful, right? It's growth, and we all need to grow. If we're not growing, we're stagnant. Things are stagnant back, right? So those are some of the books that I'm always picking up now. Also, the $100 million Offer is one I'm reading right now as well.
Okay. What question do you think I should have asked, but I haven't?
So I'm always I don't like a lot of surface level things, right? I like to get deep and intimate, right? One of the things I always want to know about someone is, what is the legacy you want to leave? Like, what do you want your life to be about? You can tell a lot from a person from that answer, from where they are.
Okay, so can I revert that back to you? What's your legacy?
All right. Hopefully it goes down as someone that truly, really cared about people, and especially his people, that loved hard, right? And gave a lot and always wanted to learn to get better, to be at better service people.
That's beautiful. So, folks, we are almost at the end of this, and we have heard so many good points from Michael Fabber. My question to you is, why are you still on the sidelines? Why are you still not taking action? And if you have taken action, and if you are an entrepreneur and you need a little boost, you need to connect with Michael Fabber. So, Michael, where do people find you?
You can find me on any social media platform. It's really Michael Fabber or the coach Mike Fabber. Listen, my email address is public. My cell phone, literally my cell phone, not some BS automated system, are public, right? Like, I'm here to help. You have a question, reach out. You have a comment, reach out. Heck, if you want to just hate on something, hate on me, reach out. I got some haters. All right. Got some haters in the house. Right. It's okay. If you do anything, you're going to have some haters, and that's okay. Right. That means you're making progress. People are paying attention. So definitely reach out. And my thing is this, when you take action, you find purpose. And with purpose, everything changes. There's a phrase that they say, life starts when you find your purpose. And I like that phrase. It definitely changed my life.
Awesome. There you go. So, folks, if you are standing on the sideline, take action now. That's all I'm going to tell you today. But if you need to find Michael Fabber, just look for UnleashU Now. because that comes up, and his logo is black, green, and blue. There you go. Look at him. he's, he's one of those coaches who is supposedly supposed to be serious, but it comes across to me as a goofy one, which, by the way, helps other people because that's his style of learning, and the way he shows up makes people comfortable. It's not like, oh, it's not serious. It's just goofiness with smiles, and then people break that rapport and connect with him very fast. And that's how I connected with you. So, folks, please take action. And if you like to be a guest with us, Munira's Musings, go ahead and message me and let's put you on the calendar. We are here every Monday with a new guest that we are showcasing. And if you would please like, share, and subscribe, because we are everywhere where you listen to your favorite podcast. Thank you. Until next week, have a wonderful week.
Thank you for listening to this
Bye.
episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.